What is up, guys? Welcome to Cerny Gaming. If you want to help support the channel, then go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Today we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit more special, a Magicka Arcanist build that is hands down the absolute best for solo PvE content. Easily slay dungeon bosses and stroll through Vet Vateshran and Maelstrom without a care in the world, this setup really does bring easy mode to solo content. So let's get started with the core details. The race you will be using is a Khajiit, because this brings the best overall spread of buffs that works seamlessly with the build that we are going for. However, if you prefer Dark Elf or High Elf, these work fine too. I went for the Dark Elf on this simply because I feel like the style works better. We're going to be going with the Shadow Munderstun on this one because this gives us a total of 17% extra critical damage and healing. Now that is already massive, but add that to the Khajiit's 12% and you already have a super strong foundation for the focus of this build. The Ghastly Eyeballs food buff gives us the best spread of max Magicka and Magicka recovery, which will be our primary stats. But should you need a boost to your health, you can go ahead and use the Clockwork Citrus Fillet or the Witch Mother's Potent Brew for a cost-effective option. Because we'll passively be getting Major Sorcery and Major Prophecy from our skills, there's no need to run Spell Power Potions. Instead, run Tri-Stat Potions to give you an advantage with Survivability and Sustain. Now let's look at the champion points, starting in the Warfare section. We'll be using Fighting Finesse for extra critical damage and healing, Thaumaturge for more damage over time, Ironclad for direct damage mitigation, and Biting Aura for more area damage. Over in the Fitness section, we have Boundless Vitality for more health, Fortified for a resistance boost, Rejuvenation for extra recoveries and siphoning spells for batches of Magicka back when we kill enemies. Now that we've checked out all of the core details, let's move on to the gear. Now, one of the absolute best things about this build is that all of the gear is easily obtained in the overworld or through crafting, save for one piece which is still really easy to get. First we have Mother's Sorrow. This is a tried and true set that brings a ton of crit chance to the table, allowing us to make use of all that extra critical damage we've been stacking, as well as giving us some super strong healing. Next up is Order's Wrath, which is craftable and grants a ton of crit chance, damage and healing, meaning that we can get a really well-rounded and efficient build based on our crit stats alone. Instead of using the Oaken Soul Ring, we instead go for the Ring of the Pale Order. Now, Oaken Soul may bloat out your stats, but the Ring of the Pale Order is where it's at for completely trivializing all solo content in the game. Now, this heals you for 20% of the damage that you deal, which is insane when you see just how much damage we're going to be dishing out. And finally on the head we have One Piece Slime Claw. Now, this is the only piece that requires you to even set foot in a dungeon, and it's Wayrest 1, which frankly is a cakewalk, and you should have no trouble getting this. Even if you just put the rest of the build together first, you'll be able to then use it to go and get the last piece easily on your own if you wish. That's the gear covered, so now let's look at the skills. On the front bar we have Escalating Rune Blades, Cephaliarch's Flail, Inner Light, Pragmatic Fate Carver, Recuperative Treatise, and Sanctum of the Abyssal Sea. And on the back bar we have Impervious Rune Ward, Evolving Rune Mend, Fleet-Footed Gate, Reconstructive Domain, Cruxweaver Armor, and the Tide King's Gave. Escalating Rune Blades is primarily here to build up Crux. It serves as a fair spammable, and you can use it on mobs due to the hefty AoE effect of the last projectile, allowing you to save your Crux for the heavy hitters. Next is Cephaliarch's Flail, which is an efficient skill that heals us, deals execute damage to low health opponents, generates Crux, and debuffs all enemies hit to take 5% more damage from all of our attacks. So try to open combat with this. Inner Light is just slotted here for the passive Major Prophecy, and an increase to our max Magicka. This whole build is based around Pragmatic Fate Carver, which absolutely trivializes any solo content you could want to do. This deals tremendous damage, which will heal us through the Pale Order Ring, deals more damage and costs less for each Crux spent, and applies a massive damage shield to protect us while we heal and deal damage. Recuperative Treatise is a nifty addition that grants Major Sorcery to both bards while slotted on either, gives us resources and extra damage when using Arcanist skills, and occasionally grants extra Crux, so be sure to keep this active at all times. We aren't typically going to have much need for Sanctum of the Abyssal Sea. Because Pragmatic Fate Carver works as both a defensive and an offensive skill, Sanctum won't see any use, but does passively give us extra sustain just for being slotted, but if your sustain is fine, slot Dawnbreaker of Smiting instead for more damage. Impervious Rune Ward is my favourite Arcanist skill. If you know that a big attack is coming, tap this for a massive shield for 1 second that turns into still a pretty hefty shield afterwards. By consuming Crux, also get a massive heal as well. Evolving Ruinmend is a strong, spammable heal that costs less for each active crux, while generating crux with each cast. It won't typically see that much use, but can be used while traversing some environmental hazards, or to come back from a nasty hit if you need it. Another favourite skill of many players is Fleet-Footed Gait. You use this to move faster through solo arenas and skip mobs, manipulate the battlefield and get the drop on your opponents from more favourable positions. We gain a ton of extra resource sustain, minor courage and even a nice heal over time from Reconstructive Domain. It's a large area that's easy to stay in and helps towards allowing us to plant our feet and dish out damage while tanking all kinds of nastiness. Another source of crux and major resolve is Crux Weaver Armor, which also debuffs attackers with minor breach as well, increasing our damage output through penetration. The Tide King's Gaze is a pretty awesome ultimate that deals a ton of damage from above in an area, following your target. You can go with more area damage with Elemental Rage if you wish, but if you do so, slot it on the front bar instead. That should be all of the important information that you need to completely trivialise all solo PvE content for you, but you don't need to take my word for it. Here's some gameplay of the build, running through some of the toughest content in the game and making it look pretty easy in the process. Thanks very much guys. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons and drop your thoughts into the comments section below. Take care and as always, have fun.